For many years, Ugandans have enjoyed his music. His songs oscillated between love, societal issues, and injustice, as well as governance. His prominence thrust him into the August House in a by-election in 2017. Now, as Chadondo East MP, he has scaled the political heights in such a short time that is now viewed by many as a potential president of Uganda. How prepared is Robert Kyagulanyi for the journey ahead? What does he have up his sleeves as the days draw near to the 2021 elections? Is he the one who will end President Museveni's lengthy rule, or will the odds become a tall order for him? On the spot tonight, we host the Member of Parliament for Chadondo East, the Honorable Robert Kyagulanyi Sentamu, better known to some as Bobi Wine. Honorable Robert Kyagulanyi, thank you very much for honoring our invitation. A warm welcome to you.
Thank you very much, Patrick, for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Today, I was reading the Daily Monitor, and the lead story was saying Robert Kyagulanyi is running for the presidency of Uganda 2021. Robert, are you running?
Well, we've said this before on different media platforms, that my team and I are considering challenging President Museveni. It was not a mistake. We meant it then, we mean it now.
You want your name to be on a ballot paper 2021 for the presidency of Uganda.
You are very quickly narrowing it down to me. I don't represent just myself. Even right now as I speak, I don't represent only my views. I represent a big population, but most importantly, I represent a team. So and my team are considering that.
With clarity whether you are going to run for presidency 2021 today. You can only speak with clarity that you are organizing with your team to challenge President Museveni.
Yes, and we are surely going to.
That may not be you on the ballot paper, right?
It might not be me. It might be me.
If it is to be you, yes, you have had an incredible rise.
Before you rush there,
yes.
I've made it clear that if it necessitates me to offer myself for the job, I've expressed my readiness to offer myself. I must be the one to lead the team into the ousting of Museveni.
Yes, you have had an incredible rise since you took over the Chadondo East in a by-election.
Yeah.
Yes, you have inspired many Ugandans. But ever since I told the people that I'm going to host you, quite a number of those whom my acquaintances seem to suggest that you are a good man, you have inspired young people, but you are punching above your weight to take up Uganda's highest office.
Well, that's their opinion, and they are entitled to it. I think every Ugandan is equally important, and most importantly, every Ugandan is equally powerful. Their role is equally important in the liberation of this country. I don't underlook anybody's role, and neither do I underlook my role.
Before you even develop ambition to lead Uganda, what have you done for Chadondo East?
Well, what can I say? If we are to talk about Chadondo, that's a different story altogether. I do what I can do under the circumstances. As you know, that it's even a challenge, just me leaving my home to go to a public gathering. So I do what I can do under the circumstances, knowing that...
so under the circumstances for Chadondo East, you haven't been able to do much, but you are dreaming to lead Uganda.
To liberate Uganda. And that is not just my job. That's the job of all of us as leaders and as citizens of this country.
People power, to me, seems to be a special purpose vehicle for you in your quest to lead Uganda, or say to liberate Uganda. But people power is not a political party. Yeah. And if people are not beholden to a certain constitutional rules, when they go astray, how do you reprimand them?
Well, first and foremost, for the benefit of the masses out there that are listening to us, I intend to sound very simple and very easily understandable. You might call it a pressure group, a political party, a special purpose vehicle. But to me, and to many of the ordinary minds out there, which happen to be the majority, people power is an idea that is premised on Article 1 of our Constitution, which is to the effect that power belongs to the people. Now, this idea has over time metamorphosized into a movement that collects like-minded leaders that are willing to help Ugandans assert that power. We all recognize that in 1986, a group of gun-wielding men and women took over the power of the people under the pretext of liberation. But 33 years later, we are still oppressed. So we seek to bring a leadership that is accountable and answerable to the people of Uganda, where the will and aspirations of the people of Uganda.
The gunmen you're talking about, at that time, they had a set of rules. I'm sure they had their jungle kind of constitution. They had a way how they were handling issues. But now, if you're talking about people power, when they do something funny, you're going to deny them. Like maybe you have heard of some cases. When they do something good, you're going to accept them. How do they come in? How do they get in? How do they behave when they are within people power?
People power is not a certain sect of people. People power is an idea that is embraced, utilized, and many times misused. I told you before that even when I was returning back to the country, the regime staged some people to dress in red t-shirts with the word people power and cause mayhem in the city, all in the desire to paint us bad. All right.
So isn't it prudent for you to register people power as a party so that you can set rules and guidelines and know how people can come in, how they can behave, and if they commit, crimes or they are out of the line, you can call them to order?
I'll first and foremost let you know that people power is an ideal whose principles are outlined amongst us. It's very easily understandable. However, this is something that everybody owns, regardless of where regardless of your political persuasion. You could be NRM, FDC, DP, or whatever. But for as long as you believe in the supremacy of the people, then that's what you believe. However, we have not registered because we do not intend to own this idea. This is not about me. Okay, I preach it, but I don't own it. Everybody owns it for as long as they believe in it. And most importantly, you know the circumstances under which we operate. Okay, many times we've been advised by regime apologists to register so that the regime finds a way of dealing with us. People power is not about me. That's why they cannot stop me. That is why even when they arrest me and incarcerate me, it is still ongoing. That is why even when they try to kill me, they realize that the people in themselves are rising. Our intention is to politically sensitize and awaken the people to make sure that they can do it themselves. They can get personally involved.
The people running the affairs of Uganda, the NRM party, in fact, think that you are coming on the stage is the best thing that has happened to them, because it appears that the opposition is in disarray thanks to you.
Well, I agree with those NRM members that think that my emergence was good news to them. Yes, they are there because many people in the NRM
good news to them
are
because
being oppressed.
because you are tearing apart the opposition.
You think I'm tearing apart the opposition?
I do not know. When I saw you running for Chadondo East, which is your right, sir,
yes.
I could also see the other members of opposition, the bigwigs, supporting somebody else.
Yes.
When I saw you campaigning for the member of parliament for Bugiri municipality,
yes.
I saw the other bigwigs supporting someone else.
Yes.
And when I saw you in Arua supporting the Honorable Kasiano Wadri, I saw the other members of opposition going somewhere else. So that is an indication to me that the opposition is having trouble.
But
thanks
you see,
to you.
Now you are naming some people opposition and others, I don't know what you're going to name them. Well, I'm glad to tell you that I'm not, if that's how you identify opposition, then I'm not opposition. I'm a Ugandan who relates with people from the opposition and people from the NRM, which is the ruling party. My concept is that I don't belong to any party.
So
just a minute.
The three
just
examples,
a minute,
Honorable
Uganda has been divided into two kinds of people. Those are the oppressors and the oppressed. And these two people are on either side. We have oppressors in the NRM and we have oppressors in the opposition. And the same way we have the oppressed in the NRM and the oppressed in the regime.
Who are the oppressors in the opposition?
Well, I would think, and I would like everybody else to think and believe, that anybody who works for the liberation of the people of Uganda, be it in the opposition or in the NRM, that is an oppressed person, that is somebody that wants better. And anybody who works through their deeds or words for the maintenance of the regime one more day is an oppressor, regardless of whether they come from the NRM or from the opposition.
When you make that categorization, then I'm for sure you know some individuals, don't you?
Well, I would not want to come here on TV and start name calling, because the task that is ahead of us is so big and it needs inclusiveness.
Even that is an answer, sir. But when you stand in a rural municipality,
Yes.
and the oppressed, let's say you belong to the group of the oppressed,
Yes.
and are disjointed, thank God the route you took gave you victory. It will indicate to those who are oppressing you that you are in disarray. When you go to Giri and you, the oppressed, and you are not having a united voice, it will indicate to the person you're trying to challenge that you are in disarray of sorts. So, what will it take for people who are oppressed, because now I want to use your words, to agree on this one person, because that has eluded them for quite some time, 2021, that name to be on the ballot paper? What will it take?
Well, first and foremost, I want you to know that when I was running in Chadondo East, many people supported me, both from the opposition and from the NRM. Why? Because they felt oppressed, because they felt represented. The same thing happened wherever we went, in Bujiri, in Arua, in Rukunjiri, and in Jinja. You know, we got support from across the divide, and that has always been our message, always, that we are not trying to divide this country between opposition and government. We have very good people in the NRM, I want you to know. Just like we have good people in the opposition. Our interest is to bring all these change-loving people together, not only from the opposition, from all the parties in the opposition, and yes, from the NRM, because we have people, I have personally been interacting with people, and they badly want change. Some of them have even come out publicly. They belong to the NRM. I'll give you examples of the Honorable Theodore Sechikubo, the Mbate Kamwas, the Honorable Nsambas, and so on and so forth. So we cannot just say, okay, we are opposition, you are NRM, and we cannot work together. No, our nation is deeply divided along those lines, along tribal, religious, class, and most importantly, party lines. We cannot continue that.
I watched you give a speech on the last campaign rally of the Honorable Asman Basaler Bujiri. And you seem to have tried to make a clarion call for the young people.
Yeah.
In fact, you used the word in Luganda, that those who are oppressing us or running the affairs of Uganda are not our generation. Siba miaka jaffe.
Yeah.
Are you pitting young people against the old?
No, I'm not pitting young people against the old, but I'm reminding them, as Frantz Fanon once said, that every generation has got to discover its mission, betray it or pursue it. The people that are ruling us, when they were our age, they came together and said, guys, it's high time we decide the kind of Uganda we want to grow up in. It's our right as a generation, most importantly, as the biggest number in this country, to come together and think about the kind of Uganda we're going to be in when we are 60 years or 70 years. That's not a crime. I know that the old people understand, but I also know that for a long time, our young people have been misled. Our people have been having a lot of apathy about how they are governed, and indeed that has caused the disconnection. So it's important for me to call upon them to make them know that they are the change they've been waiting for.
If the young people have been misled and you want to put them or to have an idea of the people power, and maybe you stand for the presidency 2021, I'm imagining how, without structures, are you going in an African election, you know, win your election if you can, protect your victory if possible, and have structures in Bundubujo, in Aduku, in Nagongera, in Vura, so that you have a voice at every parish and every village, because Honorable Chagulanyi, that matters.
Thank you very much. But I want to remind you that that's the same talk that was happening in the Chadondo East by-election, which we won with almost 80% of the vote. I've been a musician for almost 20 years. I am Bobi Wine, just in case you forgot. And I've been traversing this country. I know people from village to village of this country. And not just me, but the people I've been relating with. So the kinds of structures that you're talking about are in those traditional political angles. I am a new person with a new mentality, and indeed I'm relating with new people with new ideas. We are not going to come on TV and expose to the Museveni regime how we are going to move. But you're going to see that up to now they've failed to phase us out because we are smarter than them.
So you have a covert operation working around Uganda.
Well, call it covert, call it overt, call it whatever you want, but just know we are running the things.
Honorable Kyagulanyi,
Yeah.
where have you been anywhere with the opposition politicians, for example, before 2016, standing on a campaign podium with them? Whom have you supported before 2016 during the election? I know you have sung, your messages are seen in the, heard in the songs, but whom did you stand with before 2016?
Well, I stood with a couple of people. As I grew up, I was born in 1982. Museveni came to power.
I'm talking about when you're an adult, you know, musician.
I'm breaking it down. Do we still have a few minutes for this show? Do we?
Yes, we do.
Sure. So listen to me then. I started out as any other young man, supporting people because of what I see. It should be remembered that I was one ardent fan of President Museveni. I've even never sang for him at his rallies. But over time, I saw the kind of disappointment and liar that he was proving to be, and I had to think to find my own way. Of course, in the past, I've been an ardent supporter of Dr. Paul Kawanga Semogere as a kid. I voted, but ever since I started voting for presidency, there was Dr. Kizza Besigye, and he has been my role model and idol, and I believed in him. I still believe in him as my,
as a role model.
As my role model. So I've been aligning myself with mainly the opposition leaders and the clear-headed leaders from the NRM.
Okay. Your role model was the other day, Dr. Besigye was the other day besieged by people who are using your idea. What do you make of that?
That's a terrible thing. I got to learn about it. I reached out to Dr. KB because I thought it was terrible. And I also came out with a statement. First and foremost, those people, if they purported to be my supporters or to belong to people power, that's not right. That's not how we behave. We don't condone violence. We despise violence. That is old style politics. That's not our kind of politics. Okay? That's not how we relate. We despise violence, most importantly. And indeed, we respect Dr. Kizza Besigye because this is somebody that has played a very monumental role in the liberation of this country. And he's one of the great men on his success, on his foundation we are building on. So we cannot be seen to be all oppressed and all fighting for freedom and again fighting against each other. But of course, I also know that such things have happened in the past while I was growing up, and over time I've seen them happen. Only that this time I'm in one way or another dragged in. You realize that when I was attacked by the regime in Arua, it was said that indeed those people wanted to kill me and blame it on Dr. Kizza Besigye. I also heard one of the leaders saying that indeed those people wanted to hurt Dr. Besigye. It just disturbed me why they had to blame it on me. Why this time?
But with all respect, Honorable Robert Kyagulanyi, how is that act of Mengo any different from what I saw you in Arua do when you appeared with your convoy near Dr. Besigye's rally, and when you are, energizing your rally, that could have potentially become so dangerous. You know what you did? I saw it on television and asked myself what. And I remember trying to reach you. I said, what was that supposed to be? Because that could have caused serious repercussions.
I think, Patrick, when we're addressing the nation, we should start by being honest to ourselves. We had gone to a campaign where I was supporting one candidate and Dr. Besigye was supporting another. Me and Dr. Besigye are good friends, but when we went to support our people, each one was trying to draw people to their side. As the attraction of the day, it is always, it's a competition, and indeed I was calling upon people.
But do you agree that was potentially dangerous?
Well, I wouldn't think it's dangerous when it's me and my colleague who are in a friendly competition. Of course, I realize, I mean, I've been an artist and I've done things out of love. I did not really take it the political way that some people take it. But even after the Arua saga, I met Dr. Kiza Besigye and we've discussed that. So with me and Dr. Besigye, it's all right, apart from people who want to build a mountain out of an anthill.
So you discussed that issue with Dr. Besigye and this issue of recently of Mengo?
Yeah, sure, we talk.
So now, quite a number of people have not maybe heard your story of Arua, because for 2-3 days, you are not, we didn't hear about you, we didn't see you, only to see you in court when you are looking in a terrible situation because it looked like you had been tortured and seriously. Did you at one point think that people who were tormenting you were actually about to take your life?
Well, they wanted to kill me. They had just killed Yasin Kauma, who was sitting in the seat where I had been seated.
And you think that
And
bullet
that's
was
why
meant for
I
you?
hid. That bullet was certainly meant for me, because I was sitting there, and then I left that seat. Less than 5 minutes he sat there, and he was extrajudicially executed. Anyway, I'm not the kind of guy that wants to always go back to the misery. I'd rather be a source of hope than a source of despair. We don't have so much time to talk to the nation. So rather than taking them back to a story that makes me weak, I'd rather paint an imagination that makes all of us feel so.
Yeah, but also your people can know what they are up against.
No, they are up against a brutal regime. They know. I'm not the first. I don't want us to elevate my sufferation. We've seen people killed. We've seen people maimed. We've seen people who cannot walk. You know, we've seen terrible things done to people. So I don't want to dwell on that. I want them to know that we've seen people overcome more brutal regimes like this one here. And that's what I want us to look at.
The Honorable Robert Chagulanyi, there are so many things that are in your favor. Your age, you're dynamic, you're a firebrand person, and you can inspire. And they're saying, those, as you can see, those things, even if you hold on now, without necessarily burning out of 2021, you have so much to do for Uganda because everything is in your favor now. Isn't it prudent on your side to use your energy in sending somebody who can maybe be in the lead so that the time for Bobi also comes? After all, what you have, they don't have.
Patrick, if you're talking about me, my time came long ago. I was living an extremely comfortable life, a luxurious life. Like I said, as Bobi Wine, I was one of the richest artists in the country. I was comfortable. So I'm not looking for any kind of comfort or whatsoever. It's a calling. It's an assertion. It's a reminder in me that while I'm comfortable, my people are not comfortable. For example, you and I know that we lose more than 18 women every day dying. You and I know that more than 300 children die every day under the age of 5. You want us to wait another week? As I grow? And besides, you've seen that most of the greatest leaders have given their biggest contribution to their countries in their youthful years. Our own President Museveni, at my age, he was fighting to get into power to change things.
So it's your time. This is it.
This is our time. Are you reasserting it? I've always been telling young people of this country, this is their time to give their contribution, to contribute to the country so that they can enjoy it when they're old. We are preparing for our retirement. We want a nation that will make our old age comfortable for us.
The good thing is that every time you are at a public forum, I take it upon myself to listen to you.
Yeah.
Sometimes you joke, sometimes you're very serious.
Yeah.
And once in a while, I even send you a message. I said, you have said ABCD, what do you mean? I want to remind you again on your victory speech at the Chadondo East constituency. I don't know whether it's a joke or this is what we discussed. You said that your wife, Bobi Kyagulanyi, you had promised her to make her a first lady. Is this a romantic commitment you made to Bobi?
Well, if you look at it in both sides, I think you're right. If you ask if it was romantic, I think you would be
so
right.
you're driven.
And if you ask
You're
if
driven
it
by
was-
your
and
romantic
if you ask
feeling
if
of your
it
wife.
was a commitment, I would still say it was right. I'm glad you asked me this on the eve of the International Women's Day. Patrick, I'm a product of my mother. Everything that I learned from my mother, the resilience, the respect, the hard work, everything. Because yes, I had a father, but my mother was more of a single mama, okay? And she taught me this. And she taught me how to respect women. And
So-
even when I grow up,
so-
hold on 1 minute. When I
Yes.
grew up, I met this young lady that was so mature in her mind. She transformed me, I must confess, while I also transformed her. So while we were celebrating the many things that
So-
she used to
so-
say to me,
so-
I told her that because of the greatness and because of the steadfastness that you've showed, maybe one day a person of your character will be.
So
first
part
lady
of you of
this
what
country.
you see is the handwork of Bobi.
Yeah, part of me is the work of Bobi, and I'm proud to say that, man.
Okay, Bobi Wine, Honorable Robert Kyagulanyi. We're going to take a break. I'll be right back. Welcome back. You're watching On the Spot. My name is Patrick Amara. My guest tonight is Honorable Robert Kyagulanyi, Bobi Wine. Well, we ended up saying that, have you prepared your family about what is likely to be against them? Because a few things they have already tested, but have they given you the green light and endorsing you? Because they were living a quiet, a comfortable life. Here you are thrusting them in the middle of Uganda's dirty game of politics.
Patrick, that attitude is what is keeping our nation behind. How dare an intellectual like you say politics is dirty, and yet we want to change our country? We have to swim in those dirty waters so we can deliver this country. This country
When I saw
can
you,
be-
let me tell you one thing. When they killed your driver, that was dirty.
Yes.
When they injured you and tortured you, that was dirty.
Yes.
When they did what they did to Zake, that was
Yes.
dirty. I don't have any other name what I could call it.
When
it is
people
dirty.
were being killed in a means regime,
That
it
was-
was dirty.
Yes.
Filthy.
Yeah,
It did
that's
not-
what I
it
mean,
did
Honorable
not
Robert
stop the
Kyagulanyi.
young men and women of then for risking danger to liberate their country.
Even those who liberated this country, they came walking on dead bodies into Kampala.
Exactly.
Still, that
I
was
mean,
dirty.
Obama told you that even in the face of insurmountable challenges, people who love their country can change it. We want to change our country. We don't have anywhere else to stay, Patrick. Okay? Me, the only home I know is here in Uganda. So it is upon me to make that home better or to live like a slave in that home. So fear is something for the likes of you, not me. Okay? I know the dangers we are facing, but what is the purpose of living a meaningful life? Okay? I mean, I would be as good as dead, like they say. Many people are buried at 75, but they die at 30. So I don't want to live like a zombie. I want to live a full life. And that's why you see us risking.
You're ready. You come here like you're almost rehearsing the presidency. This is what I mean. I haven't had many guests who come here with group advance parties. I mean it, because the Red Beret boys were here much earlier than you came. There was one group, and then there was another, and there was another. And is that how you always move?
I've been a leader in my own right for a long time. I'm the same guy who you used to hear being called the ghetto president. So I've been with my people. We've been working together for a very long time. It's only that some people are just getting to know me now. But I was there, and we were there, and we are still there.
I was honored to come to your home in Magere.
Yeah.
And, you know, it was so astonishing to see that in your beautiful gardens, there are people all over. And I'm told every morning you wake up, just maybe find yourself people in your compound. Sometimes they can tell you what they want, sometimes they don't, but you almost have that cultic tendency in you that people wake up and they come to you. What do you tell them? What will you do to such people?
Well, call it cultic, I call it love. These are people like me. We've been like that for almost 20 years, you know. That is how we be. We ghetto people, we always stick together. We always talk about stuff. We don't fear each other. We relate with each other. That's how we be. Welcome to the ghetto.
But I also saw the struggle in the house because I was noticing so many things. When everybody comes like this, you will have your family members trying to think where does this one sit, where does this one eat, what do they drink and stuff like that. Is that sustainable?
It's in our culture. When we have, we share. When we don't have, people always bring to us. You've seen that most visitors that visit me actually bring me food. So how can I even ask what to feed them? You know, things work out naturally somehow. But that's our culture. That's African culture.
I saw you begin using the red beret, but also the red or overalls. And I'm thinking, are you inspired by the South African youth leader, Julius Malema? Because what you did is exactly how he started. And the other day I saw Julius Malema giving you a lot of support. And are you inspired by Malema? Are you in coordination with Malema?
I'm very inspired by Julius Malema. Who is not? Who is African and is not inspired by Julius Malema? And indeed, I'm glad to be in contact with that great son of Africa. I mean, our struggles might differ a little bit and our approaches might differ. I mean, South Africa is way ahead of us. The struggle we're engaged in, involved in right now is more or less similar to the anti-apartheid struggle that they were facing. Right now, they're struggling for economic freedom. For us, we're struggling for all freedoms, even the freedom to freely express myself. So we are greatly inspired by Julius Malema. We learn from him, but we know that we have a slightly similar kind of struggle that have to have a different kind of approach.
Did you also pick the red beret and the red overall right from Julius Malema's kind of approach?
Yeah, we were inspired by Julius Malema, by Thomas Sankara, by Che Guevara, but most importantly by Julius Malema. I mean, it's fashionable, it's nice, and it's cool.
Okay, now let's talk about the issues of governance. Because Uganda is a country of 40 plus million people. As if you are to be leader of this country, what kind of physical tools would you use to rein in the kind of inflation that we seem to be, raising its ugly head every now and then?
Well, so much. When one starts to look at what to change about this country, it's almost everything. But like you say, you give it timelines. Mainly when I'm having a conversation with my friends, we look at things that must change immediately. But again, we look at things that must change in at least the first 100 days. If we were to have the blessing to determine the future of this country, some things must change overnight. For example, the impunity must stop immediately. You would not see the Charlie Gonza kind of behavior in our streets. We would move to give absolute and realistic independence to the three arms of government. You would not find the executive interfering with the legislature. You'll see our courts independent. But most importantly, there's some, like you say, practical things that would have to change. For example, immediately we would ban the OTT. Immediately, we know what it means to the people. Immediately, we would, repeal the Public Order Management Act because it's the most unconstitutional law I know. quite a lot of things that we would do.
And you think that would enhance Uganda's economy and grow our GDP?
Certainly, it is not the oppressive tax. You've noticed we had a report recently from The Guardian that more than 2 million people have been knocked off of social media, off the internet. But you know, Uganda being a country of young people, they depend so much on the internet. They depend so much on the social media. That's where they create their jobs, since we are living in a jobless country. But unfortunately, they're being blocked from it.
Yeah, but you need to make the young people of Uganda work. The country needs to be productive. We need to be producing things. We would want to hear the alternative policy proposals you'd come with, or what you have in mind that can make this country work and be productive, so that the young people who are in people power, they can wake up today, tomorrow, and they have something to do to add value to their lives and add value to their country.
Patrick, if I was just to outline our policy alternatives, it will need a whole program, and probably would need more of my team, because it's not basically me to articulate everything. But most importantly for a leader and for a president for that matter, is to make sure that those laws work. You know, we're living in a fallacy where we have institutions, but the president creates alternative institutions that are going to, make sure that his impunity and his divisionism keeps happening. That's not what we're looking at right now. For as long as we can know that we are putting, first and foremost, a stop to that corruption, we are empowering those institutions, then those institutions are going to solve the other problems.
You know, Honorable Chagulanyi, the issue of corruption is real, but corruption is so embedded now in the Ugandan system that's no longer, if you wish, just only among the leaders or the top. It's almost everywhere. How do you intend to restore the values among the Ugandan society? Because generally, it has eaten the society to the core.
I don't believe corruption has eaten the society to the core. I believe corruption has eaten the leadership to the core. So we need to change that leadership, okay? If a family is immoral, look at the leadership. If a village is immoral, look at the leadership. We cannot resign.
It takes two to tango, doesn't it? There's the recipient of a bribe, and there's the giver.
Yeah, there's a recipient and the giver, but I mean, let's look at the cause of this. Let's go, for example, in our police institution. I mean, our security people are underpaid. If a police officer is underpaid, or any other public worker, they're going to be pushed to take bribes. But let's revise their payments. Let's make sure they don't have to take a bribe.
How do you revise
we have people who get a salary which cannot sustain them for a week, and then they are paid for a month.
Yeah, but what's our GDP? Because how much can it cater for all those people? What's our GDP? If you look at it, it is not even one man. For example, Zuckerberg is times, I don't know, 100 times our GDP. How is it enough to cater and give everybody a salary that can add value to them across the entire working force?
Well, before we look at the numbers, let's look at the system. Is it functional? Let it be functional. Let the system make sense for the common man, for starters, okay? Let the border guy know that when he leaves home, he's not going to be arrested and he's going to be asked for money that he has to take a whole week to make before he can rescue his bike. Let's deal with the small things first, okay?
You know, some of the things Honorable Robert Chagulanyi are desirable, that we would want to be in that kind of Uganda. But I'm sure the people who are listening to you would also want to know, how do we get there? And when we get there, how do you achieve the things you want to? Because at one time, you admired President Yoweri Museveni. Yeah. You said you even sang for him. And he meant well, and I'm sure he still means well, but he finds sometimes he cannot deliver the things you want to deliver. How would you deliver them?
Why do we fail? Because the leaders have put all emphasis in staying in power, okay? if the leaders have not put all emphasis in staying power. For example, we would have security because the police would not be, the police's job would not be to look for where Bobi Wine or Dr. Besge or Mao or any other opposition leader is. They will be looking out for the security, okay? But now their preoccupation is staying in power, and even the leadership itself is even shy to apprehend, for example, the corrupt people. If a ghetto person in Kamocha goes to the hospital and there's no drug, and they saw on TV that a person stole billions of money that was meant for drugs, they will know that it's because they're being misgoverned that they cannot access the services that are supposed to access. So, for starters, if we have people-centered leadership, if we have a leadership that is answerable to people, then all that can be fixed. We have a leadership that does not care because it doesn't fear being voted out.
And so if the leadership is entrenching itself and doesn't want to go, they have all the instruments of coercion, they have the experience of using them, that alone is a monumental challenge for you.
Well, you think it's a challenge, but I will remind you that we've seen, history has shown us so many dictators that were much more ferocious than the dictator we are dealing with. How they went, you and I know. Look, recently on this African continent, Yahya Jammeh was kicked out by the vote. Okay? So, yes, the challenges are enormous. The challenges are there. We don't look at failure as an option. Even we ourselves were a challenge to that dictatorship.
It took an uprising in Tunisia, it took an uprising in Egypt, it took a war in Libya.
It took a vote.
Yeah, just an isolated
Gambia.
Example. An isolated example.
Yeah. And we pick examples that make sense for us. Some other countries have not been liberated yet. So we don't look at those that have failed. We look at those that have succeeded.
But you also know Gambia is a country, with all respect, of about 2-3 million people.
Yeah.
With different dynamics.
With different dynamics. Uganda is a country of 40 million people. Over 80% of those are younger than me. Hello?
What does that mean?
That means there are many people who think like me. There are many people, we are young, we are angry, we are hungry, we are desperate, and we are strong. And most importantly, we are here longer than the people who are oppressing us.
So, Honorable Kyagulanyi, you're young, you're desperate, you're hungry, you're angry. Are you also not dangerous?
No, we are not dangerous. We are not. Some of us are potentially dangerous, okay? And that's why leaders like myself are coming out to channel this. We can be two things. We can be a liability to this country, or we can be an asset to this country. A population of millions of young people that are strong, that are ready to work, even if for much more or less than other countries. That's a resourceful
So what do you
country.
plan for the men in uniform who are supposed to hold this country together, protect its integrity and territorial integrity, and keep the order here? You are convinced in your mind that the likes of General Muhoozi will salute Bobi Wine, Honorable Robert Kyagulanyi, and escort you to Kololo as we swear in?
Well, I'm not only convinced. All of us, right-thinking Ugandans, including yourself, are supposed to be convinced that if the people of Uganda choose a leader, anybody who is in service of that country is supposed to be subordinate to civilian leadership. Even the so-called General Muhoozis of you that you're talking about.
But you know the impunity that has been exhibited by some generals in this country.
That is exactly what we are putting to an end. You're talking in the past. You're talking in the Uganda that has not changed. Me, I'm already in the NC and Subize. That's the difference between me and you. Me, I'm looking at the Uganda that you are going to. You're stuck in the old Uganda.
You are in a dream, I'm in reality.
Exactly. But like Dr. King said, I have a dream.
You're in a dream and I'm in reality.
Well, that dream will come to pass. Like Mandela said, it always seems impossible until it's finally done. So that's what I see. That's what I call upon every Ugandan to envision.
We now seem to be in a a collusion course in terms of trade with a neighboring country. Uganda and Rwanda are almost at each other's throat. How would you think this should be resolved?
For starters, that shouldn't have happened. I mean, we Ugandans and the people of Rwanda, we are brothers and sisters. You and I know. I mean, we should have that cordial relationship. So it shouldn't have happened. We all know that this has something to do with egos, particularly with our president always wanting to play God, always wanting to play senior to all these other leaders. If it were me, I would respect the sovereignty of other countries and I would not play superior. But most importantly, I mean, we've seen in the media some officials from Rwanda claiming that Uganda has on different occasions arrested and tortured their people. I mean, I don't have facts to that, but I know that the government of Uganda has in the past arrested and tortured its own people, including myself. So if that is being done, that is wrong and it shouldn't be done because it jeopardizes our relationship. The East African community should be about people, not about leaders alone.
And that's one of the reasons why you think you should come in. And, you know, opposition leaders in the past, Honorable Robert Chagulanyi, have complained that elections in Uganda are rigged. And actually, Dr. Besigye, for him, is sure that he won the election in 2016. What's your game plan around this to stop the rigging?
Well, let's look in the past. If you know where if you want to know where you're going, look where you're coming from. The farther back you look, is the farther in front you see. We've seen Dr. Besigye battle President Museveni 4 times, and many of us are convinced that he won at least 2 elections. But to know that he did not take leadership, there's some factors that we look at. For example, our leadership in the opposition has not in the past been as united as required. Unity has always been lacking, and many opposition leaders have spoken from different scripts just after the election. That alone has affected us. But not only that, you know, we have not involved the people. It has always been about parties. And you and I know that Museveni has succeeded staying in power partly because of the division that he sows in people. So even our people were not united. And besides that, there was a lot of voter apathy, especially among the young people. People actually never believed in elections because even the leaders themselves did not call people to get involved prior to the elections. You must have noted that some leaders were actually discouraging the exercise of elections, yet later on participating. I think this time around, we can. Why? Because we are pushing for unity. I'm glad that many of the opposition leaders are positive to the idea, and hopefully we will all unite, or at least get the majority to come together. That alone will not be enough. We are already calling upon the citizens of Uganda to get national IDs. That is not to go to a party. No, to help them be able to vote. Now, if millions and millions of people who support us turn into voters, then we'll be changing the narrative from hooligans, from noisemakers to voters. That way we shall proceed and beat President Museveni hands down. That's why we need the unity so bad.
And do you see the indicators that unity is going to happen? Because what we have seen now is, for example, the Forum for Democratic Change, the General Muntu getting out and starting his new formation. You have come with people power. Sometimes you, even in a by-election, you divide yourselves instead of speaking with one voice. Is there an indicator for you that more than ever now, unity is on the horizon?
Yes, yes, unity is on the horizon. And this is in 2 sides. One, we're approaching unity from the side of the leaders. It's important for us leaders to be speaking from the same page. It's important for our people to see us as standing together. Otherwise, it will be a joke. But that is not enough. We go a step further to call upon the people to unite in the event that if we, the leaders, do not unite, at least for them, they will unite. I mean, we've waited for leaders to unite in the past elections only to be heartbroken. But if we manage to unite these people and tell them that you guys, it is your power, you're going to listen to me as Chagulanyi talk to you, and you listen to various other leaders talking to you. But because you have that power, exercise that power. So ultimately, the decision will be with the people. If we leaders cannot do it, I'm sure the people will do it, because our people are even way ahead of us sometimes. They're more united than we, the leaders, and that is something to think seriously about.
Do you sometimes, does it concern you that you could actually burn out before 2021 with a lot of energy exerting on this, and you have quite some time to go, and you are now an individual, of course, with the people you say who are believing in the idea?
I don't know what you call burning out, Patrick. I'm not here.
The steam going down. Obviously, the steam that you had a couple of months ago is not the steam that is today.
That is what the politicians think. I don't come to you as a politician. I'm a Ugandan. I come to you because I have my problems and because I'm representing other people who have problems, which problems emanate from misgovernance or bad governance. Okay? And that is exactly what I represent. And that's why you see people supporting me. So it is not about steam burning out or steam not burning out, because I'm not out here to impress anybody, but to make sure that I play my part. Of course, I'm not here forever, but I want every day, that every opportunity that I get, to do as much as possible to make sure that I plant this mindset, that I plant this view in as many people as possible.
So for you to be able to achieve your goals, you also need resources, money.
Yeah.
Is money available?
You people make me laugh.
You'll need money.
Some time ago.
That's why. That's what
you believe. That's what you think.
You'll need it,
well,
because
I have
you need
news
to travel.
for you. I have news for you, my
you
brother.
need to travel the entire country, and that alone will need resources. You'll need to have your people stationed almost in every sub-county.
It has not been about money with us, and I believe it will not be about money. We are a different breed. We are a different style. I've told you people before that we move in a rub-a-dub style. You cannot see us. You just feel us. Okay, so we do not need your money. I'll tell you that.
So your people in a rubber style are going to get an epiphany, and things will just happen.
I'll tell you this. The President Museveni was talking about us last time, and because he knows that him and his lieutenants have to use money to even gather a crowd. When I move to any rural trading center in this country, it needs me only 5 minutes to walk out, and people will come together and we'll share what we have to share and move. So we don't bank on resources. We are in a time of social media. We are in a time of connectivity. So it is not only the funds. I'm not ruling out the fact that we need funds, but that's not what we look at. All we need is life. All we need is the ability to convince each other. Each one teach one. We move like an atomic reaction. Yeah.
So if you manage to unseat President Museveni in 2021, what will your first 100 days look like? What are the issues you hope to tackle very fast?
I think you asked that before. But,
no, not in this.
Just
not,
to,
yeah.
In a way, but to re-emphasize it, there's some things that have to change immediately. I've said it before, that immediately we will have to ban the OTT, we'll have to repeal the Public Order Management Act, okay? We'll have to cause the independence, the realistic independence of the institution. We want to have a judiciary that is free of interference from the executive. We want to have our courts working. We want to have our IGG working. We want to have our human rights institutions working and free of the regime, which is not the case now. We want to put an absolute stop to the impunity. I said it before and I'll say it again, that we want not to see again the charigonza and whatsoever kind of behavior that will stop overnight.
Honorable Robert Chagulanyi, we are going to take a break, and when we come back, I'll be opening the lines that you two at home can be a part of this discussion. You see the numbers on the screen. Please call us and make it precise and concise and have a conversation with Honorable Chagulanyi. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're watching On the Spot. My name is Patrick Amara. My guest tonight is Honorable Robert Chagulanyi, Member of Parliament representing Kyadondo East, but also leading the idea of the people power. You know, one of the things that you are known for, Honorable Robert Chagulanyi, is your music.
Yeah.
Do you see music continue to play a critical role in your political ambitions, considering you've been banned from holding concerts?
Yeah, I've been banned because the powers that be think that ban can affect me. They're so disconnected from reality, they forget that my music can travel faster than light. So music has been and continues to play a big role. I mean, we sing about what we want. For example, if you listen to the song called Engule that we just sang, it talks about most of the things that I would spend hours talking about. You guys have been asking what we want the kind of Uganda to look like. You just ask me what we want our first 100 days to look like. But the song Ngule is more like an overview. Amalwaliro nga gateredde nga abakazi tebakyafanga bazaala abalimi nga bafunye obutale, various things. I'm sorry, I'm mixing in Luganda.
Which is okay. It's one of our languages.
It's, of course.
And the song is also in Luganda.
Yeah, but I know people are watching us from all over the country. But I'm trying to say that we use music to communicate friendlily to the population out there, and they feel us more. Yeah.
But it must have really disturbed you, or maybe curtailed your movement, especially when you cannot have your concert in Nambole, like you wanted to have a concert in Nambole and it ended up in Usabala. Now you can't. That's where you also make a living.
Well, that's where we are. This serves to show you the kind of regime that we are with, that we are faced with. I mean, they don't quote any law. They will act with absolute impunity to anybody that is deemed to have a contrary view. And that is what we want to change. So these people are helping us show what must be changed. Once upon a time, President Museveni was a dictator in a suit, but now he's all out. The emperor is naked. It is out there for everybody to see.
The emperor is naked?
Certainly.
I'm going to be opening the lines so that you at home or wherever you are, you could call us and maybe ask a question, maybe agree with him or disagree with him. But should you disagree, do it with respect. This is how we do it on the spot. So my lines are going to be open in the next couple of seconds. Make sure you keep it precise and concise so that we can have quite a number of people also make contribution. You can also be sending your comments on our other social media platforms. Tomorrow is International Women's Day. What would be the kind of message you can give the women? Considering you've just stated that we lose 16 women or more. Let my producer telling me you have callers who would want to connect with you. I have a caller online. Hello.
Hello.
Good evening, sir. What's your name and where are you calling from? Okay, let me ask my producer to turn up the audio a little bit in the studio for Honorable Robert Chagulanyi to hear my caller. Yes, sir.
Nange nkulamusiza sebo.
Amanya gange babitana saninga kusango wano sebo.
Yes, Nathan.
Bagati omuze bwana batukutte mutu nakola tutya kubaza kwata mubalala kutte mubani kutte mubani wala bakutte mufe tunakola tutya.
Okay, I'm supposed to be translating that.
Yeah.
And my Luganda is still work in progress.
Well, I can help translate.
Yes, you can. But let me take someone more. Some more. Hello.
Hello, President Wilson, President Atete Musei. Tuli eggwanga tulikwasa Musei nga ffe abantu ba wansi byokoledde ensi eno Musei tuli kusiima byonna okuba gwe pulezidenti waffe fe tulina pulezidenti mulala mu Uganda gwe pulezidenti sigadde mbasula fa President Atete Musei gwe pulezidenti fe twakkiriza ogenda tufuga kwafe avuuka ffena tulabidde kugwa ale tuleetaddemu omutima guli kuba kati tuli bamalirivu tulinga nswera.
Okay, I'm getting some of those words, and but of course you get them better than me. Let me just try to take out 3 more maybe. Hello. Oh, sorry about that. We got an issue there. We weren't able to get that caller, but let me try to get just another one. Hello. Hello. If you want to have a conversation with us, what you have to do is that if your phone goes through, please make sure you turn down the volume of your TV set so that doesn't bring an echo to us or even to you. But if your volume is high and you want also to make a call and sometimes even listen to yourself, there cannot be a healthy conversation. Hello? 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 Okay. We would want to know what, well, some of those questions, since you said you're going to.
Thank you, Patrick.
Yeah, but there's something you're doing to my phone and everybody will want to speak to you. So let me also try to. Hello?
Yes, I'm Andrew from Mukono.
Andrew from Mukono, you're on air, sir.
Yeah, ekibuzo kinyama kubuza honorable kiriwo ekindi. Saidi ya ffenno twafuna obuzibu nti sub-counties zirinamu abantu abakulu abazituddemu ng'ate tebalina buvunaanyizibwa. Whereby nti osanga ofisi ya OC nga mulimu omuntu agituddemu nga tamanyikiddwa. So kati mbuuza ekibuzo honorable ogenda kikavaringa otya ekintu ng'ekyo?
Okay. All right. Let me take just maybe 2 more. Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Good evening, sir.
Hello. Good evening to you.
What's your name and where are you calling from?
I'm called Peter and I'm calling from Kampala.
Okay, Peter, you're on air.
Okay. Me, I would advise my colleague, my president. Yeah, like we need to have like a think tank. Bring more people together, like we think together, think with the people, not just coming out with populism, but think with the people together. And we also need to talk to the media and have a good media team that can always disseminate information to the people, not just kugamba like kuchamularing people, but telling them all the real issues and having all the points together. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Okay. I suppose we may not take all the calls, but okay, a producer tells me I can pick 3 more. I have a call online. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Good evening, sir. Okay.
Hello?
Yes, good evening, sir.
Good evening, how are you?
Your name and where are you calling from? Please make it precise and concise.
Okay, I'm called Martin, yes, and I'm calling from Chihuahua.
Okay, Martin. Go right ahead, Martin.
Okay, please. I wanted to ask His Honorable, if at all he can't bury the hatchet between him, and this is now going back to his first business, music, if at all he couldn't bury the hatchet between him and his childhood friend, Bebe Cool, how is he planning on uniting Ugandans? Yeah? Because if we are to go by the norm of people power and with the anger at times they speak with, because you've seen this happening with Besigye and Muntu, and now he also uses the same energy. How different is he bringing it to Ugandans?
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hello?
Yes, hello.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, this is Shaban from Arua.
Shaban Narua, you're on air, sir.
Yeah, I wanted to brief the honor our president about the security. If he's elected, what do you think about the security? Currently, torturing of the youth. What do you say about it?
Okay.
That's our president. That was our chief in command.
Shaban from Arua, thank you very much. Taking one more. Hello. Hello. Kali, how are you, sir?
I'm fine. Well done.
Kali, you go right ahead.
I'm Kasango from Jinja.
All right, you're on air, Mr. Kasango.
Mbuza ko Bobi waini. Bobi Jebali.
Kale papa, Jebali chali wangu.
Tukola. Tukiteka munye siba na yaba sajja wobera na baba bakusekere bano but obakunya amanyira be abasawa.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm sorry, I can't take any more calls, and that is because on the account of time, not because I don't want you to speak. And so you've also given a number of questions to Honorable Robert Chagulanyi, so he has to respond to them so that we can also...
Well, I wonder, they ask me in different languages.
Yes.
You want me to respond to them in different languages?
That's a hard one. That's a hard
Yeah,
one. But I think they've been hearing.
There's a brother who called from Kumosamvu asking, Singabaka Kwatam. He literally means that what will happen, they've seen it in the past that elections have been rigged. What will they do? I'll borrow the words of Asuman Vasalirwa when he was in Bujiri. He said, Akaluru akataweze bulungi kekango kubba, that a vote that is not overwhelming is the one that is easy to rig. For starters, we are planning to make it not only hard but impossible for Museveni to rig the election. We want to win him decisively. The same way we did in Chadondo, because we can beat him in all districts, and that is what we plan to do, and that will be the biggest solution. If I could phrase it in Luganda in just 2 seconds so you could understand me. Chali wange temutya nti bagenda kakwatamu, akalulu akatawezeke bakwatamu, omusajja tumufukire ekizibu tumu overwhelming kayikenga nkuba twali tukikozeko mu bitundu bino byonna byonna. The guy was always
the
there.
next person.
So the next person, Ambassador was just sending greetings. The other also asked in Luganda, but I'll try to attempt it in English. Said the offices are full of people that do not work. Offices zijuda abantu abatakola. Tunakola tutya, what are we going to do? We tell them that where they have power to change them, they can change them. For example, we're calling upon people, mainly those young people out there, to challenge for these positions of leadership, right from LC1 up to president. Those ones that are changed democratically, we can change them, they can change them. And those that are for appointing, still let them elect the right people, the clear-headed people who will eventually appoint the right people. That is the solution, my brother.
Okay.
So a brother from Kampala said, and I agree with him, that we should have a think tank. We should have a team of people that puts issues together, who we think with, other than just populism. I agree with him. Unfortunately, I cannot move with all the people that I talk to, that I think with, that I work with. I cannot even take public pictures with some, because some of them are public servants, others are intellectuals out there doing their business. These things, I'm not representing only my views. People power is not an idea that was developed by only me. You might see all lights shining on me, but I am a reflection of very many intelligent men and women that have taught me and continue to teach me things that I know, while I also share with them the things that I know while we exchange knowledge. So it's not about me. I don't just represent myself. And also the fact that we've been able to convince so many Ugandans to make people see our point of view, that shows that that is an effort of a group of people and not just myself. Martin asked that if at all I cannot bury the hatchet with my childhood friend, Baby Cool, how do I intend to unite Ugandans? I don't really know whether Martin has been following us or me in particular, but yes, it's true that as young people we had that musical beef that started as a gimmick to promote our music, but eventually we got emotional as age does. I mean, all young people have had those clashes, but it's been close to 10 years since I and my brother Bobi Cool had a public confrontation. And indeed, it will be remembered that recently we had a historical meeting. On my side, it was genuine. I was glad to meet him. I was glad to know that when we meet and hug and shake hands, we are sending a positive message to the music industry and to the young Ugandans out there. So they should really not see me in an image of hating a fellow artist. My brother Bobi Cool, just like Chameleon, just like all these musicians in Uganda, are very important. And as leaders, we should seek to unite other than disunite people. Of course, there's some ideological differences that are evident, but that does not stop us from having mutual respect for each other. Finally, Shaban from Arua was asking what we shall do about the security. We shall have the most secure nation because we shall have well-paid soldiers, police officers, men and women in uniform and in all security organs. And they will be paid to do their job, not to oppress Ugandans. You see, security is always good when you channel it to where it benefits people. Our army is supposed to fight the enemies of the country, not the citizens. But now our army is fighting the citizens, so it has turned us into enemies of our own country, which is wrong.
Okay.
So that's how we're going to deal with that.
Tomorrow is International Women's Day. What's your message to the women of Uganda and the wider world?
Well, I am evidence that women are the greatest role models, that are the greatest teachers. I'm a product of my mother's effort, my wife's effort, and now my daughter's effort. So I have so much hope in women. You know, even Sankara taught us that a revolution without women is a dead revolution. So we need women so much. Our women have been the most oppressed in this regime. Their dignity has gone completely down, and we need to raise it. In this effort, women are equally important. Women are equally needed. So I call upon the mothers, the daughters, and the sisters of this country to come join us, to take this upon themselves, because what is taught by a woman sticks much harder and much deeper than what is taught by a man.
I think I would want to agree with you there. Empower a woman and you'll have empowered the country.
Certainly.
You know, you're a musician, and I wouldn't really have liked to leave you without at least sampling you on the issues concerning music. Well, if you allow me, let's sign out. I want you to sign out on an a cappella.
To sign out on an a cappella.
It's going to be a first on my show.
For starters, since we're talking about music,
Yes.
I will not leave this show without talking about my sister Maureen Nantume's concert. She's having a concert. And
you are now...
it is for the love of the industry. Anyway, that
Okay.
was in
Okay.
exchange for the
Maureen
acapella I'm
Nantume,
about
it's
to
okay.
give you. And if I'm to give you the acapella,
something.
let us agree that I will be Bobi Wine and you will be Nubian Lee, right?
Oh,
If we
no.
can, yeah. And because we're talking about the unification of our forces of change, I want to dedicate this song to all the freedom
Not
fighters.
Nubian Lee, because I know he's very good. I do not want to sort of
To-
damage his
to
whatever.
damage his
Yeah,
name.
no,
Yeah,
damage his name.
you can try, you know.
I know Nubian Lee. I don't want to sound funny.
We as artists believe that if you can talk,
I
you
went
can
to on Joseph Chameleon's studio
Yeah.
many years ago. I don't think he remembers, and he took me to his studio that to record a song. So did 1-2 lines, and
Yeah.
after that I came out. Every time he meets me, he said, "Kamara, you have unfinished music."
Well, I'm going to make sure I drag you to Chameleon
So I'm
studio.
not going to do-
Anyway,
Okay.
like I said, I will definitely do you an acapella. And I want to dedicate this acapella to all the freedom fighters. Dr. KB, my brother Honorable Mao, General Muntu, the friends in the FDC, in the DP, people power supporters, friends and brothers from the NRM, all people to know that all of us that want change, we should be united forces of change.
Okay.
If we want to change this country.
All right.
So, like I said, I insist I want you to be Nubian.
No.
All right. We'll just say, United Forces of Change, the only way we could get a liberation. I say, United Forces of Change, the opposition must unite as one. Again, United Forces of Change, the only way we could get a liberation. Verse.
Thank you.
My people, them complain night and day. They wonder why they continue to live this way, but I know that things can change someday. If we really want them to change anyway, Africa is a land of abundance, but the African living in deficiency. Ban that for independence, we must abandon that silly tendency. My country rich by my people poor, because them leaders them drunk on power. They treat the nation like family affair. The people them suffer but they don't care. Why? United Forces of Change. Thank you.
Thank you very much. United Forces of Change.
Definitely.
The one and only Robert Chagulanyi, Bobi Wine, with a gifted power of speech. He is, he's a gifted man with a gifted brain that he knows how even to communicate it. I'm sure you have heard his stand. You know where he stands now. And maybe you've had a good show, I suppose. Good night and God bless Uganda.
Cheers.